When you choose hope, anything is possible. Today, we're going to meet my youngest guest, but he's also the wisest. He was only 15 when his life turned upside down. Stay tuned. You're going to meet a walking miracle. We'll be right back. Please give a warm welcome to Alec Woodruff. So, Alec, how old are you right now?
I am 17, going to be 18 in like 2 months.
Wow, so at 15, your life turned upside down.
Oh, in every shape and form.
Why? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I got diagnosed with an illness, and at the time there was only about 200 or so cases in the world. It was called Acute Flaccid Myelitis. We say AFM for short. But basically what it does, it attacks your spinal cord, and it went all the way up and down. It caused respiratory failure. I have left side paralysis that I'm still dealing with to this day, and a bunch of other complications. And it really, like, it took everything that you live life and you don't even realize that you take for granted, like, even feeding yourself or getting up and taking a shower. Like, you take all these things for granted, and then they can be taken away from you in just like that.
Split second. And I connect with you because I know my life also changed in a split second. And I want to go back because you were 15 years old. You were not born with this, correct?
No, I was not.
So take us to the moment that you got diagnosed. What happened?
Well, it really started out with just a cough, and I was a sick kid. I was born a preemie, and I had a compromised immune system, so it wasn't my first rodeo being sick. So when my mom first heard the cough, she thought it was hollow in a sense, like almost if you're talking, like the best way she put it was that you're almost talking into an empty glass. And it just sounded off to her. I really didn't notice it at the time, but looking back, it did. Now knowing what I know now, it definitely was strange. So I had a cough, then a fever. It was like 99.9 or so. But my mom was giving me like Tylenol and Motrin and the Cross, and it wasn't breaking. So it was, it was the weekend of Columbus Day, and it was like a Wednesday morning or so, and after about 5 days of having this cough and a fever, and my mom woke up around 5:30 to come and check on me. And the night before, I was actually in the couch, sitting in the couch, and just was sleeping there. When she woke up and when she came in to check on me, I had my hands around my neck, and she said to me, "Buddy, what's going on?" And I said to her, "Mama, I think if I move my hands, that my head is going to fall off." And like that, she thought that I had meningitis. So a couple hours later, we go to the emergency room, and really, like, the rest is history. I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to go into a little bit about what happened at the hospital. But first, what was your life like prior to being diagnosed with illness?
Well, I mean, being 15, my passion in life was karate. I would go to the dojo 3, 4, 5 times a week. I was adamant about, staying extra hours just to help out my instructors because I just loved teaching the younger students. And, it's funny enough that it really isn't funny, but a week before I got diagnosed with my illness, my instructor actually offered me a job at the dojo because he saw that I was such a wonderful teacher to my fellow classmates, if you will. So,
wow.
Love karate. I love hanging out with friends, being with family, and yeah,
And then your life changed.
Absolutely.
Right? So now you're in the hospital. How long were you in the hospital for?
I was in the hospital for 152 days.
Wow. That is a long time.
Yeah.
That is a long time. And you were also in a coma, right?
I was for about 2 weeks.
Wow. So can you tell us a little bit about what were you feeling when you were in the hospital? Were you afraid? What were you feeling?
In the beginning, I guess I really didn't know what was going on just because I only remember about me first originally being in the hospital, and then waking up from the coma. There was a lot of it was a blur in between that 2.5 week period, but I was me because I had my mind, right? Like I didn't, not that I didn't care, because I wanted to be 100% at the and I still do want to be 100%, but I loved the fact that I was still me because I had my brain, and that's really all that I cared about, and I really was grateful for it.
Wow. And you appreciate a lot of things. So what was the hardest for you?
Well, I mean, to name one thing, like, I don't even think I could. You know, like, your whole world gets changed upside down, not even yours, but, you know, all of my family. I mean, even my sister, who was such a trooper, she, my grandparents came down, like, without us even asking, came down to our house to take care of my sister, so then she could continue on having a normal life. And like even before I got sick, my mom, my sister, we had a perfect synergy. We still do. We have like just an incredible dynamic, and to put myself in my sister's shoes and have the two people that, you know, were your family, that be taken away from you for over 150 days. I couldn't even imagine.
Wow.
At least in the hospital, I had my mom, but I couldn't imagine being her.
Yeah, you definitely have an amazing support system.
Absolutely.
Because
absolutely. I couldn't have done
some
it
of the
without them.
challenges you had to face too. Didn't you have to learn to
Oh yeah,
eat
well,
and
I
walk?
mean, yeah, I had to really learn how to walk, how to talk, how to do everything. You know, I was originally left-handed, and the disease affected my left side, so now I pretty much do everything with my right side. I mean, I do what I can with my left, but it's just not as good as it was before.
Right. And what is life like for you today? What do your days consist of today that you're not doing? Like karate, right? I know that had to be put on hold. So what does your day look like right now?
Well, I hang out with friends when I can. Of course, you know, COVID is changing like the way we live life too. But I hang out with friends when I can. I hang out with family all the time, and I, you know, most of the time I'm just, you know, playing video games like every other teenager would. But you know, not like real, you know, reading books. That's, you know, I really that's all I got going on at the moment.
And how's your medical care right now? Because this is something that doesn't go away, correct?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, we don't even know for sure, like, how long this could last. Like, as far as I know, I'm one of the best that's having this disease. I'm one of the best at doing the greatest so far. So, you know, I'm like, I guess you could say I'm setting the bar, if you will. So we're just going to keep on going on.
Absolutely. I do have a question. Do you remember the first steps you took? And if you did, can you tell us that day, what it felt like?
When I first started to walk again, I was still in Blaisdell, and I had my two therapists by my side, and what we were trying to do is trying to get me to like sit up without like a support system in my back, just to like have me like how I am now, just like to get me to sit up. And like we were trying it for like it was a long time that we were like, you know, in the midst of doing everything else to get me as stronger. That was like one of our main goals. And the day that we finally got it, it was my physical therapist. She said to me, well, we got you this far, so do you want to try walking, because your legs are doing okay. You want to see what we can do? And I said, why not? Let's take it all the way. Like, why not wait? So, and you know, I stood up and we tried to walk, and you know, never went back in the wheelchair ever since. I mean, it was, you know, and then it was 2 weeks before Christmas, so I have to like. We were in like the room like where we were doing therapy and whatnot, and I went back in my wheelchair. Of course, I have to show my mom, right? So it was, we like go back and like my therapist takes me back to my hospital room, and it was pretty awesome, right? So my mom was sitting like in the chair like next to my bed with like the curtain closed. So me and my therapist, we go up to my room, and I'm like, Ma, I have a surprise for you, right? So what I did, like what I did was I already stood up before she came out of behind the curtain. So by the time we said, "Oh, can you come out?" and luckily enough, she had her phone ready, and she was like, she thought that I made her like a Christmas present, which I thought was the coolest thing.
It was.
Yeah, but she was like expecting like a piece of paper or maybe like a card or something like that. And I would like to think she got a whole lot more than that.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And what, kept you you have such an amazing, energy and so positive when you talk about it.
Yeah.
What inspired you and kept you positive during these difficult times?
Well, I mean, I definitely wouldn't be where I am without my mom. I guess it's almost cliche in a sense, but I definitely wouldn't be as well as I am without her, for sure.
Amazing. Well, that's incredible. I'm so glad that you're doing well, and I know that you have a lot still to go through. I follow you, and I know you have a lot of appointments that are coming up.
Of course.
But what would you say, right? Because a lot of 15-year-olds probably can't understand what you've been through, right?
Yeah.
So what would you say to people your age with this illness, without your illness? What would you say for them to always appreciate and be grateful for?
Well, honestly, if I had to say anything, always look for the silver lining. You know what? If something bad happens to you and you only take the negative out of it, then you're not going to get anything out of it. You have to always look for the positive, and that'll keep you going, for sure.
Amazing. Well, you're truly wise. And what do you see for your future? What do you want to be?
I actually, originally I wanted to go into the medical field because I thought it would be an amazing way to really empathize with patients and know, like, I've been there and that sucks, but you'll get through it. My plan B was to go into teaching, and I might end up being a history teacher. Still have a lot that I have to decide, but that's really the road that I think I'm going to go down.
Well, that's amazing. I think that you're already teaching and inspiring people, and we're learning so much from you. So I really want to thank you for being here today and inspiring us. When we get back, we're going to meet Mom, but first I want to just give you a little something from the LJ Show. Okay. So the first thing I want to give you is, I know that you are not able to do karate right now, and that was your dream. So I just want to present you with this black belt because you kicked life's butt, my friend. And there's no greater test than that. So you are a black belt.
Thank you.
Okay, so I want to present you with that. Emotional. And I know you love video games, so this is just a little something for you to also enjoy that, okay? So I want to thank you so much. Keep teaching, keep inspiring, keep getting stronger every day, and I'm excited to see the next part of your journey and chapter, and most of all, stay healthy. And when we get back, we're going to meet Alec's mom. She's got a crazy story, too. We'll be right back. Hey, it's me, LJ. I'm only 5 feet, but my journey is huge. Right after marrying my sweetheart, my world suddenly collapsed. I endured multiple back surgeries and rare health conditions, and I saved a life in the process by donating my kidney. I hit rock bottom pretty hard, but now I'm on top. Since then, I've become a minister, a coach, and a medium. And oh yeah, I also wrote a book. Now I'm fulfilling my lifelong dream and hosting my very own talk show, The LJ Show. Join me for stories of hope and inspiration. We're back with Alex's mom, Terri. Welcome, Terri, to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you have a son who's a walking miracle, and I can't imagine going through that at the age of 15. He is truly amazing. But we want to hear from you, too. I mean, you're his #1 inspiration, right? You helped him through it. What was it like as a mother seeing your child come home, complain about coughing, cold symptoms, and it turn into this?
The truth is, I'm the one that you want around when you have an accident. I'll get you through, and when you're done and you're better, I'll be in the corner crying. So I haven't gotten to the corner yet because we're still fighting. So every day it's about getting through today. So that's every day it's about what we could do better than we did yesterday and where we could go to fix this. And that's how, we're still in the midst of the fight.
Yeah. Now, teenagers, children, all the time say they're not feeling well or something's going on, but what made you feel like something is not right here? Do you remember that moment?
Absolutely. Nobody knows their children better than their mom, and you get this gut feeling, and the most important thing is that you go with your gut, because I actually did bring him to the doctor and was told that there was nothing wrong with him. And I did say, you're so wrong, I am onto something big here, and I can feel it. And I couldn't explain it because there was really no symptoms besides a cough. He hadn't even had the fever yet. I just went with my gut, and that's the bottom line.
Unbelievable. So if it wasn't for your intuition, and we talk about that a lot, intuition and really listening to that, because I can relate. I know I had medical conditions, and I know if it wasn't to be like, listen, something is definitely wrong. So you were a blessing that you followed that through. So take us to the day that that happened and you ended up rushing him to the hospital.
Well, when I woke up that morning and he had his hands around his neck, I immediately thought that he had meningitis. So I called the pediatrician, because I figured if we went to the emergency room and he was just sitting like this, we had no accident, we had no blood, we had nothing, that we were just going to be wasting time. So the pediatrician called the emergency room and let him know that we were coming. And as luck would have it, I happened to have known the head triage nurse, who put him in quarantine right away because she went with what I said. At this particular point in time, there are only 645 people in our country that have been diagnosed. That is not a statistic of the lives that have been lost in this journey. Typically, this disease affects toddler-age children between 18 months and 7 years old is pretty standard. Alec is one of the older cases, but not the oldest, and I don't know, there might be about 50 people that are older than the toddler age, but
Wow.
he's doing remarkably.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank God for your mother's intuition and really following through on that. So when you got to the hospital and they gave you this diagnosis and you're seeing him in the hospital in a coma, what were the doctors telling you about his prognosis?
They actually had to induce the coma because what happens when you have acute flaccid myelitis is your spinal cord becomes so inflamed. That's what it really means. And your spinal cord runs through your respiratory system, so you go into complete respiratory failure. So that is typical for every patient with this diagnosis. And it attacks your nerve endings. So as a result of these, the respiratory issues, paralysis sets in. He was completely paralyzed on his entire left side. That was his eye, his nostril, the left side of his mouth. Everything was drooping on his left side. We were told he was probably never going to walk again.
Wow.
He had to learn how to speak again, because after they had to medically induce the coma, it was because they had to intubate him. So after you're intubated, you have to be put into a coma, so that this way the tube stays in place and whatnot. And after 2 weeks of that, they did a tracheotomy, so that this way he could still get the support from the ventilator. And as you see now, he's breathing on his own.
He's breathing, he's walking, he's on the
breathing on his
LJ
own,
show. So
and he's walking.
amazing.
And he still needs breathing assistance to get him through the night, because when he sleeps, his body relaxes so much.
Sure.
So he needs assistance with breathing, and his heart rate drops. So I'm waking up for my 17-year-old like I did when he was 7 days old. So,
Aw.
yeah.
Well, he is amazing, and I like when he was on here and he like was joking around about to have that positive attitude first of all, and then joke around about how he was walking to surprise you. What did you feel when you walked into the room and he had the surprise for you?
I actually recorded it. They were yelling in the room, "Terry, get your phone. Alec has something for you." And I thought he made me a Christmas present. So I'm there in my pajamas with my phone, and they stood him up, and he walked right to me. And I just cried my eyes out. And honest to God, I'm 54 years old. It was the happiest day of my life.
Christmas miracle?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. And he never stopped walking after that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think he walked too because you believed in him and he just has this positive attitude. But where did you get this positivity from?
I have to tell you, I have a faith like no other. And there were moments that during this journey when I was looking at him and I didn't know if he was the light in the room or if I was his light. And sometimes I felt like maybe I was just holding the mirror, reflecting his own light back at him. I feel like God's got a plan. And maybe they needed to choose Alec so that he could show the other kids that have been diagnosed that you shouldn't quit and don't give up hope. And maybe we can get out here and spread the message. Mom, hold on to what you're feeling. You know your kid better than anybody. If you don't like the answer that you hear, keep going until you get the answer that you want. And we need to spread awareness because you don't know unless you know. And if it wasn't for that doctor that was in the emergency room that night, even though we were misdiagnosed, but she was so close. No one else in the hospital facility ever heard of the disease before. We need to make sure that it's rare, but it's real.
Right.
You know?
And I think that's a lot of it with someone myself having rare diseases. It's how do you explain something? How do you find answers if we're not sure of it? And that's why I just really want you to have you on the show to raise awareness, because the more we hear about it and spread the word, you never know who else is going through it. And didn't you tell me you had a story about a woman in the paper?
I speak to a woman who has a son also who's diagnosed with the same illness, who happens to be the same age as Alec. And he has been sick for 5 years. He is still ventilated and he is still paralyzed. So I don't know if God's really got us, or we live in New York and we have the access to the best hospitals. I don't really know what the difference is. I don't know if it's because this is my life's work, and I feel like if God gives me another 30 years and my son ends up regressing and ends up back in a wheelchair, I need to know in my heart of hearts I've done everything in my power to get him the best that there is, and I don't care where it is or what it costs and what we have to go through to do it.
Absolutely. Well, I love your attitude and ambition to getting answers and spreading awareness. And what would you say to the other mothers out there that maybe have a child and they don't feel good and they just feel something's wrong? What inspiration can you provide to these other mothers with children that are ill?
Just in general, know this above everything: special children get born to special parents. So you might not see the compliment that there is. God trusts you. So you were put there to be their advocate. So be the advocate first and then be the parent. But it was a compliment. And some days you feel like it's a backhanded compliment, but a compliment nonetheless. Because these children have to be born and they have to go to the people that are going to give them the best, and that's you.
Well, I think you're the best. What an incredible mom that you are. He was so lucky to have you. And what do you see next for Alec and yourself?
I have to say, we have a daughter, and there are 3 of us, and without all 3 of us, this whole operation would fall apart. So I have to say, thank God for my daughter, because she adds the humor that we need into our family. But as long as we have each other, it doesn't matter. Our goal in life is to make today better than yesterday. And as long as we keep living that way, we got this,
Amazing. Well, I could totally see where Alec gets his wisdom from, and you inspire me, I'll inspire him, you inspire me, and I'm sure inspiring all these other viewers and giving those people hope that they're going to get answers or diagnosis, whatever it is that they're going through. So I want to thank you for being here, and I know you do so much for Alec, and I just wanted to do something nice for you. So I just wanted to present with you just some goodies here as far as just taking some time for yourself. So going to the spa, going to get your hair done, your nails done, getting some healthy meals to your door, and all of that. So really, I know you take care of him, but I really want you to also take care of yourself and treat yourself too. So I'm going to present that to you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Hey, it's me, LJ. I'm only 5 feet, but my journey is huge. Right after marrying my sweetheart, my world suddenly collapsed. I endured multiple back surgeries and rare health conditions, and I saved a life in the process by donating my kidney. I hit rock bottom pretty hard, but now I'm on top. Since then, I've become a minister, a coach, and a medium. And oh yeah, I also wrote a book. Now I'm fulfilling my lifelong dream and hosting my very own talk show, The LJ Show. Join me for stories of hope and inspiration.
And now it's time for Ask LJ. Ask LJ, that's right. So some of our viewers wrote into the show and had some questions for your host LJ here. So I'm going to see what they want to know. So the first question is, if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go? So this is a really great question, because I would travel the world if I could. But if I could travel anywhere right now, I would choose to go to Sydney, Australia. I actually have family there. My great-grandparents are from there. They migrated from Italy to Australia, so it's been on my bucket list. My husband and I were supposed to go after we got married, and with my spinal injury, it's just a very long flight. But I know one day I will make that flight, and I will get there. So when the day comes, I will go to Australia with my hubby. And now we're just going to go directly to my favorite part of the show, which is connecting with spirit and doing mediumship readings. So I do want to go to the first man that I'm feeling stepping forward, and I am seeing him to be a little bit more of a larger man. I am seeing him to also have a mustache. Again, he could have had a mustache earlier in his life, later in his life, but I do keep seeing that. And I feel connected to him, and I feel that he was sick. And when I say sick, I feel like there's a cancer connection to this man, okay? And I also feel like I'm ill, so I do feel it would have been some vomiting or some agitation in his stomach. He is taking that to me. I do know that we would have been in hospice, or we would have had end-of-life care, okay? Because he makes me feel that I was made very comfortable. My room is very comfortable, and he shows me that I'm surrounded by picture frames. I'm surrounded by pictures of my family. I also know I want to go to the connection M or Matt or Matthew, definitely the MA connection to him as well. Can anyone understand this so far? If you can, just raise your hand. You understand everything that I'm saying right now, Melissa?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to bring this man through because I feel there's a toughness to him, but I also feel love. And you understand the change in the living situations as well?
Yes.
And I also want to acknowledge either a wedding or someone getting married. He's bringing me to a wedding or an engagement that's taken place.
Yes.
Okay, so I just want you to know, I know that he's not here right now, but he's aware of the living situation, those getting married, and he's just making me feel that if I could be at that wedding dancing, he would, because I feel like he would be that person. Let me get up, let me dance and do this. So I want to acknowledge that, and he's also making me feel, I feel there's going to be a song or a dedication. I don't know if this bride or the groom has talked about it, because I feel like we're actually dedicating a song to him, or we're doing something in his honor. Would you understand this?
Yes.
Okay, so please know I have to come through with thank you. Thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for continuing to speak of me. So I know that he was ill, but please know that he is well, he is comfortable, and he is at peace, and he's going to be dancing at that wedding. So please pass on those congratulations and blessings.
I will.
Thank you so much for being here, being my security team too, and thank you for allowing me to connect. Love and blessings to you.
Thank you.
And it's time for a giveaway with LJ. So let's see what some members of our audience are going home with today. A beautiful self-care basket. So you get some meals delivered to your home from my friend, the Enlightened Colorist to Go. You also get a complimentary haircut and blowout. Lots of beautiful spa and beauty stuff. So just take care of yourself and make yourself feel really good. And the winner is Carmela. That's my grandmother's name, a beautiful name. Everybody's going home with the LJ Show mug. And I want to thank all our viewers for tuning in today and those that are part of our live audience. And I just want you to walk away today knowing that you are a miracle and anything is possible. And just to keep listening to your intuition and seeing how you feel, and just do not give up, and just believe in yourself. Surround yourself with love and support, and know that anything is possible if you have hope. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Love and blessings. I'm LJ.